What do you want?
Shouldn't have bruised her face.
Really?
The story begins with an elite mercenary group known as the Expendables, charging into action along the Somali coastline near the Gulf of Aden. Their objective is to rescue hostages who've been held by Somali pirates for 3 grueling months. Leading this hardened squad is Barney Ross, a former SAS soldier, joined by his formidable teammates, Lee Christmas, a knife expert and close combat specialist, Ian Yang, a swift martial artist, Gunnar Jensen, the crack sniper, and Hale Caesar, the heavy weapons master. As the pirate leader prepares to execute one of the hostages, his body is suddenly illuminated by several red laser sights, throwing his men into panic. Stepping in to negotiate, Barney tosses a bag containing $3 million at their feet, urging the pirates to free the captives. But greed consumes the pirate chief, who demands another $2 million. When Barney refuses to comply, tension flares within his team, particularly with Gunnar, whose short fuse ignites. Ignoring Barney's attempt to defuse the situation, Gunnar impulsively fires, killing the pirate leader and triggering a violent firefight. Amidst the chaos, the Expendables deploy smoke grenades, plunging the area into darkness before donning night vision goggles and rappelling down to rescue the hostages. Their progress halts momentarily when the pirates manage to power a generator, restoring light. Barney, still calm under pressure, offers them one final chance to surrender. When they reject it, he ends the standoff with lethal precision, gunning them down. Just as the team secures the captives, Gunnar's unstable mindset resurfaces. He grabs a pirate and attempts to hang him, forcing Barney to intervene. Jan confronts Gunnar, leading to a physical brawl, until Barney steps in and draws his gun, compelling Gunnar to stand down. Realizing that Gunnar's erratic behavior and drug use make him a liability, Barney reluctantly expels him from the team. Later that night, Lee returns home only to face heartbreak. His girlfriend, Lacey, has moved on without him. Meanwhile, Barney visits Tool, the team's tattoo artist, mechanic, and go-to-weapons supplier. While Tool finishes inking Barney's back, Lee joins them, and the 3 share banter that leads to a friendly dart game. One Lee surprisingly loses, hinting that something is weighing on him. Across the ocean, on Valina Island, a convoy of soldiers delivers a group of accused traitors to a lavish palace. General Garza, the island's ruler, accuses them of theft and disloyalty. Pleas of innocence fall on deaf ears. Standing nearby is James Monroe, a man in a pristine suit and the real power behind Garza's dictatorship. He coldly orders Garza to execute the prisoners to command fear and respect. Reluctantly, Garza complies, sealing his people's fate. Back in the States, Barney meets with a mysterious government operative named Mr. Church, who presents a high-risk job: assassinate Garza and topple his corrupt regime on Valina. At the meeting, Barney also runs into his old rival, Trench, another mercenary leader who turns down the mission and suggests Barney take it instead. Smelling danger, Barney negotiates for $5 million, half paid up front and the rest wired offshore. Church agrees but warns of dire consequences if the job goes wrong. Back at their base, Barney studies the island's layout while an apologetic Gunnar shows up, begging to be reinstated. Despite Gunnar's pleas, Barney refuses due to his instability and drug problem. Enraged, Gunnar storms off, issuing a veiled threat. Later, Barney briefs the rest of the team about their new assignment, and soon, they're airborne, en route to Valina. Upon arrival, Barney and Lee disguise themselves as wildlife researchers transporting animals to the island. Using fake passports, they bluff their way through customs. Unbeknownst to them, Gunnar has secretly stowed away on the plane. Once on the island, Barney and Lee observe the local military's brutality against civilians, with Lee secretly recording the atrocities. They later meet Sandra, their local contact provided by Church, who guides them through the island while lamenting Valina's downfall, once a paradise, now ravaged by Garza and a mysterious American pulling the strings. Despite losing her parents, Sandra still believes in the possibility of change. Curious to get closer to their target, Barney asks Sandra to drive near the palace. Though hesitant, she agrees. As they approach, Lee disembarks to scout the area. Barney, growing suspicious, confronts Sandra about possibly setting them up. She denies it, claiming her only goal is to help her people. Their tense exchange is interrupted by arriving soldiers, one of whom manhandles Sandra, warning that even Garza's daughter isn't above punishment. Before the soldier can act, Lee intervenes, taking down several enemies in a lightning-fast fight. Barney joins in, skillfully eliminating the rest, one bullet nearly grazing Lee, who grumbles about Barney's aim. The two flee with Sandra, but Monroe and his men quickly learn of the disturbance. At the docks, Barney orders Lee to get Sandra onto the plane while he holds off their pursuers. Sandra refuses to leave, insisting that her place is with her people. Respecting her decision, Lee lets her stay. As Garza's men prepare to shoot down their aircraft, Barney returns, mowing them down. Sandra drives away while Monroe gives chase, determined to stop Barney. Sprinting under heavy fire, Barney leaps onto the moving plane, narrowly escaping death as bullets rip through the air. Once aboard, Lee informs him that Sandra stayed behind. Without hesitation, Barney turns the plane around, strafing the docks with bullets and igniting fuel on the ground. Lee fires, setting off a colossal explosion that wipes out Monroe's men, though Monroe himself escapes by diving into the sea. Later that night, Monroe furiously confronts Garza, blaming Sandra, Garza's daughter, for aiding the Expendables. Garza, now torn between fear and guilt, listens as Monroe threatens that next time, even his daughter won't be spared. Meanwhile, Monroe meets secretly with Gunnar, offering him $100,000 to betray Barney. Elsewhere, Barney learns from Toole that their client, Church, is actually a CIA front, and that Monroe, an ex-CIA agent gone rogue, is the real target. Monroe has been exploiting Garza's rule to monopolize the island's drug trade, spreading terror among the locals. Realizing they've been used, Barney tells Lee and Yang that they're calling the mission off. But Sandra's bravery keeps haunting Barney. Seeking clarity, he visits Toole again, who shares a painful story from his time in Bosnia, how he once failed to save a woman and has been haunted by guilt ever since. His words about the courage of selfless women resonate deeply with Barney, pushing him to act. Meanwhile, Sandra is captured by Monroe's men. Despite Garza's attempts to scold her, she stands her ground, accusing him of destroying his own people. When she refuses to cooperate, Monroe's men torture her with waterboarding, but she remains silent. Determined to rescue her, Barney decides to return to Valina. Lee objects, but Yang insists on joining. During their journey, they're ambushed by Gunnar and Monroe's mercenaries at a checkpoint. Fortunately, their vehicle is bulletproof, allowing them to escape into a wild chase that ends in an abandoned warehouse. There, Yang and Gunnar face off again. Yang uses the low ceiling to his advantage, landing blows as Gunnar smashes his head repeatedly. Eventually, Gunnar overpowers him, but Barney intervenes, shooting Gunnar just above the heart. As he lies bleeding, Gunnar confesses Monroe's involvement before passing out. Reuniting with the rest of the team, Barney announces their plan to attack Garza's palace. Using blueprints provided by Gunnar, they execute a full-scale assault. As Garza confronts Monroe, accusing him of manipulating him and torturing his daughter, the Expendables infiltrate the palace. Lee, Yang, Caesar, and Toole plant explosives throughout the compound, targeting drug caches and weapons stores. Meanwhile, Sandra valiantly resists two of Monroe's guards until Barney bursts in, killing them with Gunnar's knife. He frees Sandra and guides her toward escape, but they're intercepted by more soldiers. Barney is captured and brutally beaten as Monroe demands to know how many men he brought. He refuses to talk. Suddenly, the other Expendables storm in, rescuing him in a blaze of gunfire. Lee and Yang take down Monroe's right-hand man, while Caesar annihilates waves of enemies with his heavy weaponry. Outside, Garza, racked with guilt, realizes Monroe has manipulated him. Addressing his army and townspeople, he apologizes for his corruption and vows to reclaim Valina. But before he can finish, Monroe shoots him dead and flees with Sandra toward a helicopter. As chaos erupts, Barney refuses to detonate the explosives until Sandra is safe. Once Lee confirms her escape, Barney triggers the detonators, leveling the palace in a massive explosion. In the aftermath, the Expendables launch one final attack on Monroe's surviving forces, eliminating them with precision. Barney chases Monroe to his helicopter, where Monroe uses Sandra as a human shield, trying to convince Barney they're both killers without souls. Barney rejects the comparison, declaring that his mission was never about money, it was about saving Sandra. He shoots Monroe multiple times before Lee ends it by driving a blade into him. At sunrise, Barney hands the payment to Sandra, entrusting her to rebuild Valina. After heartfelt farewells, the team returns home to Tool's bar, celebrating their victory. To everyone's surprise, Gunnar reappears, alive, sober, and seeking redemption.